been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. It was just about a year ago that my first video on the OURA ring came out, and much to my surprise, that video took off. Around the same time, I started to see my friends posting their OURA ring videos, and those videos took off too. The internet exploded with more conversations and new content around sleep. And as 2020 unfolded, those conversations grew louder and those videos more relevant. So I say all this to really highlight how excited I am to see this sea change happen and to dive even deeper into all things sleep. That being said, this is not another video about my OURA ring experience. This video is about my new favorite sleep product of the year, and that is the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover. You see, your core body temperature fluctuates a ton throughout the night. And so when you overheat, that can actually disrupt your REM cycle and your body's ability to recover. So sleeping cold is ideal, and turning down your thermostat is a great place to start. But that's also just one small factor. And so if you want to see real significant changes to your sleep quality, you can't leave out the core component, and that is your bed. That being said, for the past 3 months, I have been vigorously testing out 8 Sleep's new cooling mattress pad to see the impacts it has on my sleep scores. So in this video, I'll be discussing how this thing works, sharing the pros and the cons, and give you a side-by-side breakdown between the 8 Sleep and the CHILIPAD using my OURA ring data. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My mission is to help you achieve success without sacrificing your health or happiness. I do product reviews weekly, so if you're into this, click that subscribe button and join the Type A tribe. Now, before we dive into all my data and the details, it's my responsibility as a reviewer to be upfront and transparent with you guys. I've been following 8 Sleep for quite a while now, so when they reached out to me to do a video review, I just couldn't turn it down. I have spent thousands of dollars of my own money buying products to review, so to get something like this for free was a dream and an honor. That being said, of course, people are going to be skeptical of a product you love when you have any sort of ties to the company. I mean, I do it myself when I'm watching other reviews. But before I go on, there's something you need to know about me. Instilled in me at the age of 18 by my great journalism teacher, George Bodargy, was a code of ethics that I will live and die by. Always share both sides of the story and never rest until you seek the truth. That is what defines Katie Type A. It's been part of me since I was a teen and part of this channel since day one. And so no amount of money or endorsements will ever change that. So with that, you now have my side of the story. And as for my evidence, well, I'll just let my data speak for itself. On to the review now, and we will kick things off with a quick breakdown of what you get and how the Pod Pro cover works. As you'll see here, there are just 2 major parts to this 8 Sleep system: the cover itself and the water attachment. There is also the app, but I will cover that separately. So let's start with number 1, the Pod Pro cover. And this is basically all of their sleep technology compressed into a single cover that fits on top of your existing mattress. Embedded into this cover are multiple sensors like ballistocardiographs for sleep tracking, along with their active grid technology for temperature regulation throughout the night. Then there's part 2, the water hub. Like the CHILIPAD, the 8 Sleep is also hydro-powered, meaning it uses water to both heat up and cool down your bed. And that water gets funneled from this unit into your bed through a series of tubes that sit behind your bed frame. It is a much slimmer unit and way quieter than the CHILIPAD, but I will tackle all those differences in just a sec. So from the onset, the whole setup seems pretty simple and straightforward, but I have barely skimmed the surface of what this thing can actually do. And for that, let's turn to the app. So after you set up the device and configure all your settings, the homepage of the app will look like this. Now, I don't know if this is the proper term, but I like to call this my temperature wheel, ranging from extremely cold to extremely hot. Now, there's no exact temperature measurement for these points, but I do know that the device can get as low as 55 degrees and as high as 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So neutral is probably somewhere in between. And turning to the bottom of the screen, you'll see 4 different set points to adjust your temperature. And this is where you have total control over how hot or how cold you want the bed to get throughout the night. And if you do sleep with a partner, then that person has their own temperature wheel, so it is totally customizable on both sides of the bed. But if you really have no idea where to start, they also have a smart temp feature that basically designs the night for you based on your temperature preferences. So say for instance, I just want to feel cool, then this is what my suggested night would look like. Again, all of this is customizable and you could literally change your mind about the temperature of your bed every damn night of the week if you want. Next, we move on to sleep tracking, which is a unique feature that definitely gives 8 Sleep a competitive edge in this space. From sleep cycles to heart rate and HRV, the 8 Sleep gives you a lot of the same biometrics you would find in most sleep trackers these days, including the Whoop band and the OURA ring. But is the quality of data as good? And to be honest here, I would probably have to say no, at least not where the technology stands today, since the mattress isn't actually making direct contact with your skin. And let me explain using data. As you'll see here, after doing a side-by-side comparison between my OURA ring and 8 Sleep over the same time period, I found some pretty big discrepancies on certain stats. 8 Sleep actually overshot my HRV score by 25 points compared to the OURA ring, and my light sleep by 15%. And when it comes to REM, 8 Sleep underestimated my total score by 11%. Now, to be fair, some of my metrics, like deep sleep and heart rate, were nearly identical between the two devices. And for the most part, I think 8 Sleep excels at things like breathing rate and, of course, body temperature. And surprisingly, 8 Sleep was much more aggressive and slightly harsh in my total sleep fitness score versus OURA ring's very stagnant sleep efficiency stat. So taking all of these things into account, do I think the 8 Sleep sleep tracking is perfect? No. But then again, I don't think OURA rings is either. At the end of the day, it is not about perfection, it's about progression. And after talking with 8 Sleep's co-founder and CEO, MATTEO Franceschetti, he explained that the reason for this feature is so that the system can use your own data to make your sleep experience more personalized down the line.
So we want to control the temperature as you sleep to keep adjusting it based on your biometrics in order to maximize your sleep performance. In the future, you will be able to select this sort of autopilot and we will just do the whole work for you and we will change temperature maybe 1,000 times per night, just based on what you need.
And of course, if you want to hear more from Matteo, I've included a link to our full interview in the show notes below. But now that we've talked about the 8 Sleep setup and sleep tracking, there's just one more feature to discuss before we dive into my data, and that is their smart alarm. Within the app, you can program your bed to wake you up with either heat or vibrations or both. Now, I am personally a fan of the extra hot and highest vibration setting possible, and no, it doesn't sound like an earthquake. But what's great about this feature is that I can finally leave my phone in the other room to charge overnight because I no longer need its alarm to wake me up. And even better than that is the drastic difference I've seen to my overall wake up pattern. Prior to this, I was the queen of the snooze button, and it would take me upwards of 15 to 20 minutes to finally roll out of bed. But now, I have concrete proof that these thermal vibrations actually get me up and at 'em in 2 minutes or less almost every single day. Now, I can't say the same for my fiance, but hey, different strokes. Or in this case, vibrations. And finally, we turn to the pros and the cons of this device. And in the interest of time, I'm going to weave in all of my points about the CHILIPAD here as well. So let's start with the pros. And number one is noise reduction. So the 8 Sleep solved for the biggest problem I had and many of you had with the CHILIPAD, and that is noise. The Chili unit itself sounded like a small fan, and you could also hear the water flowing into the tubes underneath your mattress. Not so with the 8 Sleep. The hub itself is super quiet, and I've never heard nor felt that water flow. Not to mention, it also holds a lot more water, 3 liters compared to Chili's 13 ounces. Now, I've heard that Chili's more advanced system, the OURA, actually has pretty good noise reduction and holds a lot more water, but I haven't tried out the device, so I can only speak to my experience with the CHILIPAD, but I'm sure you can find other videos on YouTube making these comparisons. Number 2 is temperature control. 8 Sleep really gives you a lot of autonomy when it comes to temperature programming, with 4 different touch points throughout the night, which is really a far cry from the limited options you get with the CHILIPAD. I mean, we did figure out how to hack our CHILIPAD with a $10 timer on Amazon, but even then we were still limited to 1 temperature setting. And when I looked back at my OURA Ring data using the CHILIPAD versus the 8 Sleep, I can actually see some pretty measurable differences in the total quality of my sleep scores. And obviously I'm going to show you my data, so here we go. These are a series of 24-night snapshots of my sleep data taken around the same time of year. When using the 8 Sleep unit, I saw an increase in my total sleep time, REM, and deep sleep scores. Now granted, these are smaller changes, but changes in the right direction. And then of course there is temperature deviation. And as you'll see in the chart here, my total body temperature actually stayed significantly lower while using the 8 Sleep versus the CHILIPAD. And that's not a huge surprise since the CHILIPAD did go off in the middle of the night. And finally, I couldn't talk about the pros without mentioning 8 Sleep's special features like sleep tracking and smart temperature control. And this is the kind of stuff that gets me so excited on where the industry is going. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we start to see a full integration of all our daily health stats and personalized recommendations on how to eat, sleep, and exercise with the help of AI technology. We haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg on this front, but trust me, it's coming. And it's companies like 8 Sleep that are taking the charge here with these all-in-one devices that use your data to understand your habits and make better recommendations for your long-term health. Of course, with every great product, there are always areas to improve. And so let's move on to the downsides of this device, and we'll start with device limitations. As I mentioned before, there's no way to know what exact temperature you're setting, and even with their nightly adjustment points, you're really limited to only 4. And right now it's a bit vague as to when these temperature shifts are actually happening, which is something I hope to see change with future software updates. And the other minor issue we had was around the alarm function. So if you get out of bed before your alarm goes off and then you forget to disable it, that alarm is still gonna go off. And that might piss off your partner who decides to go to bed at 1 because he can't stop playing Pokemon. Jasper's words, not mine. Number 2 is airplane mode. The 8 Sleep cover does not have an airplane mode, at least not right now. But Matteo says his team is working on it, and so if you want to learn more, you can check out our full interview below. Now, the hub unit runs on Bluetooth, so even if you do turn off your Wi-Fi router at night, the cover should still work so long as you've already put in your temperature presets. The only time in which you might run into an issue is if you wake up in the night and want to change all your settings but the Wi-Fi router is off, but that has been a pretty rare occurrence for us. Now, the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth signals are only really coming from the hub, and we actually tested out the EMFs on the cover itself when the device was on. And based on our reading, we didn't really see much change to the electric or magnetic fields on our bed. And finally, we come to a pretty big factor for a lot of people, and that is price. The Pro cover starts at $1,595 for a queen size mattress, and even after my discount code, that's still over $1,000. Now, to be fair, the CHILIPAD is still $1,000 for a queen size mattress, and their OURA $1,400. So if I were in the position of buying one for the first time, I would probably go with the 8 Sleep, just because the technology is already so advanced and going to get better. But if you already have a CHILIPAD or an OURA, is it actually worth the upgrade? And that really boils down to 2 major factors. What's your budget, and do the cons outweigh the pros of your device? Now, for me personally, I probably wouldn't have upgraded, but now that I have the 8 Sleep and it's become such an integrated part of my sleep routine and I can see the results, I can never imagine going back to the CHILIPAD. Again, I'm only here to lay out the facts and share my own experience and results, and the rest is up to you guys. So that is my take on the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover. Let's see if we can get this video to go as high as the OURA Ring, so make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified each week when I drop a new video. And don't forget, the full interview with Matteo is in the show notes below, along with the special discount link for listeners, so you guys can save some money and get one of these amazing devices for yourself. I thank you again so much for your love, so much for your support. I cannot wait to catch you on the next one.